Have you ever found yourself standing in front of a big pile of watermelons, feeling unsure which one to pick? Today, I'm going to show you the little signs that make a big difference. These are simple tips anyone can use at the market, and they can help you avoid wasting both money and excitement. Stay with me, because after this video, you'll feel confident picking a watermelon that's lusciously sweet and delicious every time. One of the easiest and most reliable ways to tell if a watermelon is sweet and ripe is to look at the field spot, the lighter patch on the rind where the melon rested on the ground as it grew. Every watermelon has one, but not all field spots mean the same thing. If the patch is a creamy yellow, that's a wonderful sign. It means the fruit stayed on the ground long enough to soak up sunshine and ripen naturally in the field. These melons usually have firm, juicy flesh and a deep, rich sweetness. They weren't rushed to market before ripening, and you'll be able to taste the difference. On the other hand, if the spot is white or very pale, that's a warning sign. A pale spot often means the watermelon was picked too early before it had time to develop its natural sweetness. Those melons often taste bland or watery, no matter how pretty they look on the outside. Another important clue for finding a sweet, juicy watermelon sits right on top the stem. The stem tells you how long the melon stayed on the vine and whether it ripened naturally or was picked too soon. Now look more closely at the shape of the stem. If the stem is curved or slightly bent, that's actually a good sign. It means the fruit had time to ripen fully on the vine before it was harvested. Those melons are often much sweeter because they ripened out in the field under the sun. But if the stem looks very straight and stiff, it can mean the watermelon was harvested too early before reaching perfect ripeness. Early picked melons often lack flavor, leaving you with a watery or disappointing taste. One more thing to note is color. A stem that has dried and turned a natural yellow or brown is also a sign that the watermelon ripened well. The rind isn't just for looks, it also gives you valuable clues about the sweetness inside. One of the easiest things to check is the striping or veining on the rind. Look closely, and you'll see most watermelons have alternating light and dark green stripes. The darker stripes are often bold, richly colored, and clearly defined. That's a good sign the fruit had time to ripen naturally, soaking up plenty of sunshine in the field. Watermelons like this are often sweeter, juicier, and crisper when you cut into them. By contrast, if the stripes look faint, blurry, or uneven, the melon may not have ripened fully before harvest. These fruits often taste dull or watery and won't have that bright sweetness you're hoping for. Sometimes the stripes even look broken or faded. That's usually a warning that the melon isn't ripe. Here's another little tip: gently run your hand along the rind. If the dark stripes feel slightly raised and firm, the fruit likely developed well. A smooth, weak-looking pattern often signals poor ripening. Think of the stripes as a record of the melon's growth. Clear, bold patterns show a healthy fruit that ripened under good conditions. Weak or patchy patterns often mean the fruit was stressed or didn't get enough sun for long enough. Another important clue for spotting a sweet, ripe watermelon is the navel, the small scar at the bottom where the flower once bloomed. This spot may seem small and unimportant, but it can tell you a lot about ripeness. When you compare different watermelons, you'll notice some have large, wide navels, while others have much smaller, tighter ones. Always choose the melons with small navels. Why? Because as a watermelon grows and ripens, the navel naturally tightens as the fruit fully develops. A small navel often means the melon stayed on the vine long enough to ripen properly, so the flesh inside will be sweeter, juicier, and fuller in flavor. If the navel looks big and open, that's a sign it was harvested too early. The fruit didn't have enough time to fully develop, which often leads to a thicker rind, less juice, and a bland taste. No matter how nice it looks on the outside, a big navel often disappoints when you cut into it. A neat, slender navel combined with a deep green rind and clear, sharp stripes is one of the clearest signs of a naturally ripened watermelon. Think of it as a small fingerprint on the melon's growing journey, a sign it has fully matured and is ready to enjoy. Next, the tapping test. The sound will tell you everything. This is one of the oldest and most trusted tips for choosing a good watermelon, but the problem is that most people don't really know how to do it correctly. Many of us have seen folks tapping melons at the market, sometimes we even do it ourselves, without truly understanding what the sound means. Here's how to do it right. Hold the melon firmly with one hand and use your knuckles or the palm of your other hand to tap the middle of the rind. Now listen closely. If the sound is deep, hollow, and resonant, almost like a drum, that's an excellent sign. The melon is ripe, juicy, and ready to enjoy. But if the sound is dull or flat, it often means the inside isn't fully ripe or has started to soften. In that case, it's best to set it down and keep looking. Now let's move on to another tip that's just as simple but extremely effective: the hand test. At first glance, this might seem too easy, but trust me, it always works. Here's the idea: when you're standing in front of a pile of watermelons at the market and you see 2 or 3 that are about the same size, it's hard to decide which one to pick. They all look green, round, and appealing, but not all of them will be sweet and juicy inside. That's when your hands become your best tool. Pick up one watermelon, then pick up another of a similar size. Use your hands like a natural scale. Pay careful attention to the weight. The one that feels noticeably heavier than the other, even though they look alike, is almost always the better choice. Why? Because more weight means it's denser, holding more water, and likely to be crisper, juicier, and sweeter when you cut into it. On the flip side, if a watermelon feels lighter than you expect, it often means the flesh inside is dry, airy, or underdeveloped. That's a clear sign to put it back and keep looking. I remember a summer afternoon at the farmer's market when I was torn between 2 beautiful melons. They looked identical, but when I lifted them, one felt heavier in my hand. I brought that one home, and sure enough, when I cut it open, it was bursting with juice and had that perfect sweetness everyone craves. Ever since then, I've trusted the hand test every time, and it's never let me down. I chose a watermelon that checked every box: deep green rind with bold stripes, a golden field spot, a small navel, and a nice heavy feel. Let's cut it open and see if it lives up to its promise. As the knife slides through the rind, you can hear that crisp crack. Inside the flesh is a brilliant ruby red, the kind of color that makes your mouth water before you even take a bite. You can see the juices glistening on the surface, proof of its sweetness. Before we say goodbye, I want you to think about this. A sweet, juicy watermelon isn't just a piece of fruit, it's a memory waiting to be made. Maybe it's sitting on the porch with your grandkids on a warm afternoon, or slicing the perfect melon for Sunday dinner with your family. These small joys stay in our hearts longer than the taste itself. By choosing wisely, you're not just bringing home better fruit, you're bringing home moments of love, comfort, and togetherness. Keep these simple tips in mind and let every slice of watermelon remind you of life's sweetness.